Welcome to Garage Branders, the podcast that dives into the world of omnichannel commerce and highlights the innovators and trailblazers behind the brands driving today's connected retail landscape. Support for Garage Branders is provided by Tandem Tide, a performance marketing and omnichannel commerce firm, helping brands thrive in today's digital marketplace. For more information, visit them at tandemtide.com.
All right, Rachel Marciniak, thanks for joining me. I'm Brandy. I wrote the book Garage Branders, and it's all about people that started a brand and scaled it up. And we talk about kind of your origin story, what led you to where you are, sort of how it started, how it's going, kind of thing. So thanks for joining me today. And I just want to kick things off by maybe you doing a quick intro.
Okay. Thank you for having me do this with you. Again, Brandy said my name is Rachel Marciniak, and I'll give you a brief history. I went to college and have a degree in accounting, left there, worked as an accountant in Colorado and in Missouri, hated it there, and left and came home and earned my Series 7. So I was a stockbroker for 5 or 6 years. And then the market went in the tank. And so I decided that I was going to be a drug rep, a pharmaceutical sales rep. So I did that for a few years. And that I ended up getting downsized. And so then I ended up saying, I can't do corporate America anymore. I just physically cannot do that. So a friend of mine wanted the recipe for my caramel corn. I said to him, no, it's going to be my plan B. And then once I was downsized, I asked if he was serious because he offered to be my silent partner. And so then that's how Rachel Michaels came. His name is Michael. And so we were partners. He did not want me to get a storefront. He wanted me to do it out of my house with 2 small children and a full-time job. And so at that point, another friend of mine said, go look at this space. If you like it, I'll build it for you, but you're going to have to get rid of Michael. So Mike and I parted ways. George and I became partners. He built my original space, which is next door. And then he decided to get out of it. So then it was just all me. And then in March of 22, I ended up buying Basset Company. And then in December of 22, I ended up buying Sweet Nut Tree, which is a promotional company. And we had worked together, the people that formerly owned Basset Company. If they needed popcorn seed or I needed popcorn seed, then we would work together on that. So they knew who I was. And so it was a nice blend of 2 different kinds of businesses with popcorn and nuts. So now we're doing, my original space now is for production and fulfillment. I built this space out, which is next door. And now we're tearing down a wall so we can get a double door, so we can get a forklift and pallets in the other side. And starting next week, we'll probably have about 20 people here helping to do all the holiday corporate orders.
Wow. So, and this is all in a span of how many years now at this point?
I started Rachel Michaels Gourmet Popcorn in 2013. I was doing it out of my house before then. I had 3 ovens in my house.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. So, yes. So that since 2000, I guess I was downsized, I think in 2010. So I was doing it out of my house for a couple of years. And then moved into, when I was working for my partner, George, at the time with his other businesses, he was just like, Rachel, this is too much for you to do out of your house. You're killing yourself. You're up all night. You're exhausted. You're a bitch, in the nicest possible way to say that. But so that's when, and it's not for the weak at all, because, leaving a corporate job, having a car and a gas card and health insurance and having a 401k, the stability, having normal hours, that all went away, like at 80% cut and pay, if not more. So there are lots of challenges, lots of finagling with trying to figure out how to pay the lease. It's a struggle, and there is not many people that would be able to do that. I questioned myself a couple times and even thought about going back into something that's more stable, but I mean, I had a huge passion for this, and when you believe, I believe in karma, and I think that everything happens for a reason, and you have to go through the tough parts of things in order to make it successful and what you want.
Yeah, I love that. So you've been at it for over 10 years now. You're successful. I mean, you gotta grind it out in order to kind of be where you are, right?
Yeah.
So and you've acquired 2 businesses now. So you really are, you started literally from your kitchen, and now you have this like production facility, acquired multiple businesses, hiring people, all of it.
I
So
live here. Literally, I have a bed here now. I slept here last night because I also ripped out the carpet next door because I want to try to save as much money as possible. So I'd rather not pay somebody to do something I could do. Like a couple nights ago, I ripped out all the drywall and just left the frame for them to take out the frame because I wasn't going to do that. I went and bought a hacksaw because I didn't have a jigsaw, So, and it's a great way to get your frustrations out by tearing down drywall. But that's where, so many people think that small business, everyone is making $100,000 to get right out the door. And that's not the case. You're everything. You're the janitor, you're the purchaser, you're the buyer, you're the manufacturer, packager, the salesperson, the accounts payable, the HR person, you're everything. And if you don't have the mindset to take on all of those roles, you won't be successful. And I think that's a lot of times what happened with COVID. These small business owners just kept all their staff, which is great if you can afford to keep them. But then, and if you need to do the work too and lead by example, because I worked harder for people that I respected and that I saw were working with me, not being boss, leading by example. So I think that helps a lot too. And getting your hands dirty. You have to.
So you work really hard. I know that about you. And
yeah, let me get them. Those are the Cajun. You want the Cajun?
Yes, you wanted 2. I have one done.
Okay. Sorry, Brady.
No, go ahead. This is real.
Yep, real. This is real life. Okay, I'm back.
So you work your ass off. You work really hard, and I know this about you, and you're willing to do the work. So the flip side of that is, at the end of the day, you're doing this because you get to be your own boss. You make as much money as you're able to kind of work. So talk to me a little bit about, at this point, why you do what you do.
Oh gosh. I really enjoy seeing the customers, and I try to keep the prices. Everybody needs to make a profit, but you don't need to price gouge people. And I know for a fact that our prices are way better than the competitors, and I know that the product itself is a lot fresher. More times than not, people come in, they're like, "That's all I spent," because they're shocked at all the other people that are charging for credit card fees, inflation, and all the stuff that we're going through right now, where I haven't raised the prices at all, ever since I opened. Popcorn's still the same price popcorn's ever been. So I really enjoyed that. I have samples out so people can always try the samples to make sure that they like it. I like the fact that I should have more flexibility than what I do. And at some point it will get there. But I'm probably too much of a control freak. I need to, release some of the responsibilities. But it's my baby. So I want to make sure that things are done right. I'm a freak about the way labels go on, a freak about the way bags are sealed. But so many times early on, and there's this guy who is a broadcaster, and he used to go down to the bar on Friday nights to do his sports segment, and their internet was down, so they came to my store to do it. And so every year since then, it's around Thanksgiving, he comes and does his broadcast. And the second year that he came, he looked at me and to the audience, because everyone listening said, I never ever thought that you'd still be here in a year. He's like, I just never thought there was going to be a need for something like this. And, 10 years later, 12 years later, still here and doing better than I could have ever expected. So I, and Linda knows this, it's like, I dare you to tell me that I can't do something. So proving people wrong is what really lights a fire under my ass. So it's like, I dare you. Don't tell me that I can't, because I'm going to prove you wrong every single time.
Yeah, I love that. So what's the future look like for you? I mean, you've been at it for 10 years. You've got your production facility, you have retail, you've got your online store, you've got, corporate gifting, all of these different channels. Like, tell me about, like, what's the future look like for you?
So production this year is going to be where we are. But Monroe Street is the highest rent district, I think, probably in Toledo. So I don't foresee us staying production on Monroe Street unless the landlord, George, gives me a huge deal, like next to free. That's probably the only reason how we would do that. So probably another area to do all the production and fulfillment that is more affordable and user-friendly. And that's going to suck because I'm spending a ton of money to cut out cinder block to make a door big enough for a forklift and a pallet to get through this week. Yeah. But it is what it is. And it'll just be easier. I think in the future, it'd be great to take over nuts.com.
Wow. I love that.
And also knock Garrett out of the way too. Garrett's popcorn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's why I got into it, because I love Garrett. So
right.
They have a great product. It's just really expensive.
Right. Yeah. Really expensive. And they're kind of have a brand that's nationwide. I mean, I would think that would be one of your goals. Yeah. Yeah. To be kind of a nationwide brand, right?
Right, for sure. And I have lots of people that come in. I mean, Garrett's caramel corn is amazing, but their cheese is so oily, and that's what causes it to taste stale if you don't eat it immediately. Where the cheese popcorn here, I always tell people, mine's better than Garrett's, and they're like, oh, I'll believe it when I taste it. I'm like, great, let's do it. You can taste it all you want, and you're like, oh, they freak out. They're like, I cannot believe it's better than Garrett's.
Yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit about your flavors. Like, what's your inspiration? How do you come up with them? How many different flavors do you even have right now?
Oh my God. So with popcorn, there's probably 30 different flavors. Some of them we've taken off just because they are not big sellers, like the wine flavored popcorns we're not doing anymore. I've had people come in and ask for a certain flavor, and I try to come up with that for them and see how it works, see how people like it. But right now, the best seller for popcorn is Buckeye, the peanut butter and chocolate on top of the caramel, the bacon caramel, the piggy pop, which is, as you know, that's what
I love the piggy pop.
Nationwide, yeah. So that's thick cut bacon that's air fried and then chopped up and added to the caramel. I tried to find something that easier rather than me air frying it, and there isn't a substitute that has the quality that I want. So we'll just keep frying away and hopefully not burning the place down. The beer caramel corn is really popular. I reduce beer down to a syrup, add it to the caramel with peanuts and pretzels. So the peanuts and pretzels are also caramelized. Of course, the white cheddar, yellow cheddar, traditional caramel. Right now we have Pilgrim Pop, which is white chocolate on top of the caramel with dry cranberries. And then, of course, all the fruit flavors. Every color has a different flavor. There's the cake flavor popcorn. There's cheddar jalapeno. There's buffalo blue cheese. There's salt and vinegar, balsamic salt and vinegar. It's just endless. And as far as the nuts go, I can't even tell you. And it's not just nuts either. It's like the malted milk balls, the chocolate-covered cherries, chocolate-covered walnuts, chocolate cashews, chocolate almonds, chocolate peanuts, like everything. English toffee.
You literally have, just so everybody knows, you literally have thousands of products now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just a nonstop job trying to fill the shelves. When one night that I think everything is full, and then I have somebody come in and they take like 30 bags of the half pound. And the fact that we started doing half pounds is great because they can get more flavors and not spend a shit ton of money. So, and the samples are a huge help too, because I don't know what people like or don't like, and if something's too spicy or not spicy enough. So if they can go and try them, that's a huge help. But it's endless. Like the chocolate covered pretzels, bridge mix, espresso beans, like it's turtles, like so much.
So, I mean, you're multi-channel, and this is a show focused on commerce. So one thing I have to ask you about is you got your retail business, your wholesale business, online, Amazon, all of it. Like, what's the most successful in from your perspective?
Profit wise and sales wise, it's right now at the holiday season, all the corporate gifting. We took a breather a little bit from Amazon just to try and figure everything out as far as the accounting and inventory and the SKUs. And, so we kind of took a breather from that, but still going full steam ahead with that. But yeah, this time of year is 70% of my entire year in the next 10 weeks.
Crazy. And that's retail and
Yes.
also the corporate gifting.
It's probably 30% retail, 70% corporate these next 10 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
Because a lot of times what happens with retail, they wait until 2 weeks before the holiday because they think it's going to be fresher. And I'm like, I look at these people, I'm like, do you not see the bloodshot eyes? Do you not see that I'm starving and sleep deprived? Like, I have made every single one of these flavors in the last 4 hours. So it's fresh, and it has a shelf life. So if you come in the month before, it's still going to be fresh.
Right.
But that's when all hell breaks loose the last 2 weeks for retail.
Right. And then in January, you go to Hawaii, right? Is that the deal?
Yeah. Well, this year we're going to go to Mexico, but I've never been to Hawaii. I'd love to go. But yeah, Mexico is in January this year.
Yeah. Good. You've learned it.
Well, I mean, it's just, there's no sleep, there's no eating,
So what's your advice to people that are interested in starting a food brand? Because, and you don't have a background as like a culinary school or anything like that.
No. I think that you have to find what you love to do, because if you don't love it, you're not going to make it successful by any stretch of the imagination. So if you love what you're doing, that makes the biggest difference, because otherwise you're going to half-ass it and everyone's going to know that you're not dying for it. You're not killing yourself trying to make it successful. So if you're thinking that you're just going to go in and be successful, that's not going to happen. You'll fail miserably and spend a shit ton of money in the process.
Right. What's your favorite flavor of popcorn? I have to ask that.
Oh my God. See, this is what happens. Like I sample a lot of it just to make sure it's cheesy enough, because sometimes it's hard, like white cheddar. It's white popcorn. You can't really tell. But one day I had a huge box and I sold it to a friend of mine, and we went down to grab a glass of wine. We ended up opening the box. And so I started taking some of it because I was hungry. And I'm like, I'm really good. So I don't know about a best flavor, because I'm like, geez, this balsamic salt and vinegar is really good. Or the Buckeye, I'm killing it. Right. This time of year, we also have pumpkin. That's one of my favorites, the pumpkin, because it has ginger, allspice, cinnamon, and nutmeg. So it's not, I hate pumpkin. I might have a bite of pumpkin pie, but this pumpkin popcorn is insane. The bacon, I can't give you a favorite because they're all so good, I think.
They're all fabulous. I love that. All right. Awesome. Anything else that you want to share with the audience?
Don't be afraid to fail, because you're going to. There's going to be, oh my God, the money aspect of it, you have to be super creative. That's the biggest challenge with taking over this business, because the former owners were able to get a huge line of credit this time of year. And with the build out, with the debt to equity, it makes it impossible to get anything from a bank. Like, you have to have 3 years of your bank statements, taxes, business, personal, general ledgers, balance sheets, divorce decrees, shared parenting agreements. Like, I'm like, just take my children. Like, it's horrible. It's a horrible experience. So brace for impact for trying to get money from a bank. And I've been super creative as far as getting things done. Like, cash advances, like, it is ugly. It is not pretty, but you have to brace yourself for that, because that's going to happen. Like,
right.
Well, I'm in my 10th, 11th, 12th year, and it's still a challenge, but I have also done huge improvements. But there are no words actually to describe how painful it can be.
Yeah, I mean, you are truly like an example of somebody who started something in their house and then scaled it up. And that's why you were my first call when we decided to do this. So I really appreciate your time. This is awesome.
If I think of anything else, I'll let you know, but it is not for the weak of heart. I mean, honest to God, it sucks the life out of you, but it's a good thing. And the other thing, my kids,
I'm only looking for it.
My son was in a class in it was finance class or something. His friend said, "Oh, well, I'm just going to go start a business or whatever." And my son looked at him and he's like, "Do you realize that my mother lives at her store? Like, at Christmas, we don't see her. Like, my kids put the Christmas tree up. Like, I'm not doing it's your turn to hang the ornament, like with eggnog or something. You know, it's just, I'm absent a lot, which is a challenge, and I feel bad about that. But they're learning how hard it is to start your own company and start your own business, be your own boss. And they now know when their friends say, "Oh, I'm going to just do this after college." My son's like, "No, you're not." No, you're not.
But Rachel, the flip side is that your son wants to do his own thing, right?
Yeah.
So he's seen his mother like make all this happen, and that really inspired him to want to kind of do his own thing in fashion, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to work your ass off. That's it. Just work your ass off, and don't be afraid to do anything. Like, take down drywall and rip out carpet with a heat gun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And where can people find you?
Rachel at bassetnut.com. Rachel Michaels Gourmet Popcorn.
.com.
Rachel at sweetnuttree.com. Just Rachel, anything popcorn nuts related. I'm your girl.
Yes, I love it. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Brandy.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Welcome to Garage Branders, the podcast that dives into the world of omnichannel commerce and highlights the innovators and trailblazers behind the brands driving today's connected retail landscape. Support for Garage Branders is provided by Tandem Tide, a performance marketing and omnichannel commerce firm, helping brands thrive in today's digital marketplace. For more information, visit them at tandemtide.com.